Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer here. I've been wrestling with Facebook for about 10 minutes now, but I think we've got it up and running. I'll be with you here in just a couple of seconds. Got to turn a few more things on. And you can either blame me or blame Facebook. Personally, I would blame me because that happens sometimes. All right, so this is the 7:15 First Alert Weather Show. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful day today. And give me a second. I've got a cold, so I'm going to have to mute this so I can blow my nose. And now I've got to turn on the lights so you can see me, but this is our tower cam. Nope, this is our levee, not the levee cam either. This is our camera over at Turfway Park, and the rain has let up quite a bit. And I've seen some horses out there. As a matter of fact, there are a couple people out there, but there have been some horses out there from time to time running around. I don't know if they're racing or just exercising, but overall, it's 32 degrees at the International Airport, and we have some freezing rain in spots around the tri-state. But almost all of the road surfaces we checked were well above freezing, some just above freezing. And so as the night goes on, we're going to see the temperature rise, and that chance of freezing rain being around for the morning commute is almost zero. And so wet roads tonight. The rain does let up during the morning commute. And so if you're an early commuter, you'll have to deal with the rain. If you're a later commuter, let's say after 8 a.m., you won't have to deal with the rain. Things will be not so much the roads drying out, but at least no new rain will be coming down. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other cameras here. This is our tower cam looking at downtown Cincinnati from about 4 miles away. Still some rain coming down, so the visibility is pretty low. This is I-75 at State Route 122 in Middletown. Doesn't look like the traffic is slow or anything, but earlier we were able to see some icicles off one of the bridges. And then northern Kentucky, I-471, we're looking at the bridge. Of course, the northbound traffic you see there on the left side is zero because the bridge is still closed down. The northbound traffic is light, but moving along. No ponding on the roadways, but certainly enough water for that spray to slow things down around the tri-state. Okay, there is a winter weather advisory in effect. That winter weather advisory until 2 a.m. Excuse me a second. For freezing rain. So that winter weather advisories for Fayette, Union, Franklin, Butler, Warren, and Clinton counties. Freezing rain is possible. We've had a number of reports of freezing rain from all those counties, but again, not on the roads, on railings, on wires, on tree limbs, on elevated surfaces like your deck, but not even any bridge decks have been reported as of when I left the weather center. And so we're looking at a more of a wet situation. Cannot rule out a patch of ice. Some of those areas are colder, so we can't rule out a patch of ice forming, but for the most part, it's going to stay wet. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, the temperatures rise, and we're going to see warmer weather for that morning commute. So there is the winter weather advisory. Okay, the Storm Prediction Center put out a marginal risk of severe weather, not for big winds or anything like that, just for some hail. They thought that there might be some large hail. Ethan Emery and I looked at this in detail this afternoon. We did not think there'd be large hail. So overall, we let you know what the Storm Prediction Center says, but we're not too worried about that. And a marginal risk of excessive rainfall for the southwestern part of the Fox 19 now viewing area. But rainfall totals from the latest model runs don't kind of support that, although in some of the thunderstorms it could be enough of a downpour to cause some issues. But rainfall totals on this model only range from 0.28 of an inch in the Connersville and Liberty areas to maybe 3/4 of an inch when you get down to Lewis County. So overnight, a first alert weather day, freezing rain and rain. The freezing rain will change over to rain only before 2 a.m. It looks like there'll be some thunder, possibly some hail with that, and it should almost all come to an end by 8 a.m. Now, the roads won't be dry necessarily, but there won't be new rain coming down to make things a little bit worse. So here are the 7 p.m. temperatures in the low 30s around the tri-state. As a matter of fact, 30 in Richmond. So Connersville and Liberty, you can think of yourself as 30. Along with College Corner, Oxford's at 34, 32 in Middletown, 30 in Washington Courthouse. And you can see all the way south of Madison, Falmouth, and Maysville, it's 32. What's going to happen overnight is warm air is going to move in, and all those colder temperatures are going to head to the north and east. So luckily, we had that day in the 70s and that warmed the ground up, and that's really helping out right now. And so we don't have any reports of big icy problems on the roads. We'll expect an icy patch or two, maybe in some rural areas, especially on maybe one of those low rural bridge decks. But overall, that'll be about it. So wind chills in the 20s around the tri-state in most locations. Okay, there's the rain. Now the pink is what the model algorithm says is a freezing rain, sleet, or a mix. What's really interesting here, look at the lightning moving through southern Owen County. There's a little bit more that moved through the Owenton area, now into southern Grant. And that lightning will come with a little bit of thunder, but it's not severe thunderstorm activity. And if we zoom out, you can see that we're in the major part of the rain area now. We've got more coming in from the south and west, but overall it comes to an end tomorrow morning. So sunset was at 6:04. We're looking at 32 right now. And as the rain lightens up, we should recover a couple degrees and begin to warm up overnight. And look at this. I think by 7 a.m., most areas from the city southward will be around 48. From the city northward, will be in the low 40s. So here's what the model says. Starting at 9 p.m., you can see the rainfall pulling off to the north and east. Notice how most of the heavy rain is right here. Here's the Ohio River. You can see that right here. Most of the heavy rains from Owenton to Dry Ridge to Falmouth, to Brooksville, to Mount Olivet, to Maysville, on to Georgetown, West Union. So it stays to the south of the city, it looks like. And then look at that. By 8:30 a.m., maybe a few sprinkles left in the tri-state. And most of the models agree, other than the models that seem to have lost their mind. Every once in a while, when we're looking at models and we're discussing the forecast amongst ourselves, look at this. This model's lost its mind. And sometimes they do. They're not perfect. Then what we have coming our way is a drying trend during the day tomorrow, but definitely looks like the cooler weather is going to continue around the tri-state. Okay, so here is what the long-range model is going to show. It shows that precipitation moving out tomorrow morning, and then as we head forward, we stop the clock at 1:50 a.m. Saturday. Little rain to the south, and then Saturday during the day, rain arrives. It looks now from this model run like any freezing rain, sleet, and that will stay north of Interstate 70. So here in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, we should be fine. And some of the rain could be heavy Saturday late in the day. Comes to an end Sunday morning. Things look good. And then a more concerning model run shows that by 2:30 a.m. Tuesday the 11th, we've got another system closing in. And this one looks, according to this model run. Now, one of the things I want to caution you is that the models almost always change. In other words, this may not end up just being snow coming through the tri-state. It may end up being a mix, or if the system heads a little bit further north, it could be rain only. So this early on, it's way too early to pin this down, but this is the 11th. By the 11th, 10th into the 11th, we may be looking at a significant snow event in the tri-state. So just keep your fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. All right, so it puts us back into motion. So the 12th looks dry, the 13th looks dry, the 13th looks dry in the morning, the real early morning around midnight, and then we go back into a mix. And then for the 14th, maybe a few showers out there, and then other systems coming our way. But the key to this whole thing is that we've got system after system after system after system. We're not going to see any major cold air outbreak for at least probably into March, so we're not looking at a repeat of what we had in January. And we are talking about system after system bringing us quite a bit of rainfall. Climate Prediction Center says we will range from near to a little bit below normal through the 15th. Through the 19th, we'll be near to a little bit above normal. And then the 3 to 4 week outlook, this is the one that gets updated on Friday, keeps us warmer than normal into March. Precipitation-wise, above normal through the 15th, above normal through the 19th, and above normal through the 3rd of March. So we should have fairly wet, fairly active weather coming our way. This particular pattern that we're seeing now is finally what we call the La Nina pattern. If you remember, almost a year ago now, it was actually March of 2024, we started, and climate scientists started talking about, okay, hang on a second, I got to blow my nose. So climate scientists and long-term meteorological forecasters started talking about the La Nina. All indications, it would start early, it would be strong, it would last long. Well, it didn't do that. We are now in a La Nina pattern, but it started late. It's not strong, it's weak, and it's going to be a short duration. And so because it started late, that allowed a very uncharacteristic type of weather to develop around here in January for a La Nina winter, and that was that blast of Arctic air and that big snowstorm. That's not a La Nina winter pattern because La Nina really hadn't started yet, hadn't begun to modify the atmosphere. So now that La Nina is forming, we get this pattern, which is temperatures not far from normal, no big Arctic air outbreaks, and plenty of precipitation by several small little systems that continue to come our way. And so that's what we're looking at for the next little while. Okay, here's the 7-day forecast. 48 and 56, a first alert weather day. That'll end in the morning, and not all day tomorrow because the rain comes to an end during the morning hours. Friday, a high of 44, 55 on Saturday with breezy rain falling. 40 the high on Sunday, mostly cloudy, and then a little mix of rain and snow possibly on Monday. Some snow showers Tuesday and Wednesday, some isolated snow showers, but highs stay in the 30s, and those days are all below normal. By then, the normal high temperature is about 42. Okay, beyond the 7-day, looks like we have one day warmer than normal. That is the 15th, when we have a high of 47. Every other day is at or below normal around the tri-state. That 45 should be just about at normal on the 19th. And then the 13th and the 14th look pretty dry, but we do have that chance of rain. The 15th through the 19th, maybe snow, maybe rain, a little bit, but again, not a big system, just a number of small systems that will continue to bring us rain and or snow or whatever to the tri-state. Okay, so here is the summary graphic, the next 14 days. And what you'll see here, high temperatures will dip below normal from the 9th through the 14th, go above normal for a day, and then back down below normal until the 19th when it hits normal again. And low temperatures kind of hug normal. So it would all average out to a cooler than normal weather for that stretch of time, and that would be through the 19th of February. So we're basically now out of the Arctic blast type of pattern, and we're into the La Nina pattern, which means a number of storms coming in out of the south and west, the cold air staying a little bit farther north, and we have fairly wet weather in the tri-state. Okay, so let me quickly check Facebook. I'm going to have to cut this early. My wife had a cold for 2 weeks, and she finally shared it with me. Thanks, hon. So, man, I am not feeling really well right now. My throat is starting to get scratchy, and I'm starting to lose my voice. Okay, so let's see what's going on here on Facebook. Tina Wolf. Hi there, please say it's not going to snow. Well, Tina, if I say it's not going to snow, it still may snow. But yeah, it looks like we may see some snow in the next couple of weeks. Not like we've had in the past. Okay, not like the January stuff where it lays on the ground for 3 or 4 more weeks. Okay, hi Lisa Applegate. Sarah Renee Ruth. She's glad to see the snow is gone, but Sarah, we may see some more. But again, it's not going to be the kind of snow that's going to stay on the ground for almost a month. It'll melt off pretty quickly. Oh, okay, Jeff Beechler says, did he miss if it's going to be bad or not with the severe storms? No, I don't think it's going to be bad. Just a clap or two of thunder, and that's about it. So even though they put us under a marginal risk of severe weather, they being the climate or the Storm Prediction Center, we don't think there's going to be anything to worry about. So no severe weather tonight. Now, the Weather Service may go out and issue a warning if there's one big hailstone sensed or something, but it's not much to worry about. And it's going to stay way south. It's going to stay across far southern parts of northern Kentucky, so it won't affect most of our viewing area. Okay. No snow Tuesday night. Well, there might be a little bit, but again, don't think in terms of what we had January 5th and 6th. Think more in terms of the kind of snow that falls and melts pretty quickly. Yeah, Ricky Wallace is upstairs. Teased us with that warmer weather we had. I know. You know, tonight with temperatures, with the moisture, the wind chills in the 20s, and temperature freezing, wouldn't feel so bad if we hadn't had that good weather, because we now have something to compare it with. It's like, oh my gosh. Excuse me a second here. I mute this every time I have to blow my nose because it's kind of gross. So. Okay, I'm back. So let's see what else people have to say on Facebook. Lori Belcher says, I've got a wedding to go on Saturday. It's out of the viewing area. Jackson County, Ohio, anywhere I can look up weather for that day. Okay, Jackson County, Ohio, I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with Jackson County. Let me look real quick. Oh, okay, it's over by Gallipolis. It's northeast of Portsmouth. Okay. The weather not much different than us. Let me go back to the 7-day forecast here, guys, because Lori Belcher, she's going to a wedding in Jackson County, and she wants to know what the weather's going to be like. And, I mean, our viewing area goes up to Lewis County, so it's not that far from our viewing area, so I can give you a good idea. Just have to find the 7-day here. All right. Okay, Lori, let's see. We're going to load the 7-day up. Got to see if you can see it. Okay, it'll come on here, and then I'm going to make it full screen for you. So Saturday, we got a high of 55, probably a little warmer than over in Jackson County because they're farther east. So it's going to be breezy and it's going to be wet, but I don't think you're going to see any ice and snow. So just rain, you know how that is if you're dressed in your nice clothes to go to a wedding. If you have to get out and run through the rain, it gets you wet and all that. But it doesn't look like anything that really makes you have to worry about getting there and getting back. So some rain, 55 here, probably closer to 60 over in Jackson County, and some rain from time to time. And that could change. Not going to change for the worst. It's not going to change to snow or anything, but it could change to a little bit cooler. So that's what I think is going to happen in Jackson County. And remind me again tomorrow, Lori, and I can give you the latest. All right. All right. Terry Cook says, best weatherman ever. Well, I thank you very much. I try not to let things like that go to my head. So I'm a weatherman doing my job, and I hope it works out well for everybody. You need a Zyrtec allergy pill. Well, I've been taking, last night when I went home I took NyQuil, and boy, did I conk out. And then I usually take Dayquil, but we were out of it and I didn't have time to go to the drugstore. So I've been using Sudafed, and that's helped. And I'm just about due, as you can tell, for another dose of that. So, but thank you for your concern, Jennifer. Cotty Coleman, yeah, nothing severe. And that was just a chance of severe. So nobody really forecasted it. They said, hey, if things work out just right, it could be. So just a few claps of thunder should not be a big deal. And really, they only issued that for the chance of some large hail, not high or damaging winds or anything like that. Jeff Beecher's happy. He says he sees more snow. Sam McMillan says, hope you feel better. Thank you, Sam. Snow this Friday? No. So Beth Williamson says, is there going to be snow this Friday? No. It looks like Friday will be a day with increasing cloudiness and a high of 44, so no snow. Shouldn't have any problem getting where you have to go, Beth, as long as it's not far. I mean, if it's 500 miles, we have to look specifically at your location. Okay, Michael Hall says, pouring rain here at GE Aerospace. Yeah, I tell you what, there's some spots where it's really coming down. Okay, so Molly Purcell-Pollock up in Pleasant Plain, not far from Stone Lake Lake. She said she has, wait a minute, I lost you, Molly. Okay, there you go. She has ice rain on her tree, so freezing rain falling. And what freezing rain is, it falls as liquid, and when it hits a surface that's colder than freezing, it freezes. And oftentimes you get those long, they're like icicles, but with a drop at the end that's frozen. And so that's what, and it weighs a lot. Freezing rain can weigh tons and tons and tons, bring down power lines and tree limbs and that. So, but the roads are in most cases okay. We had a day it was 70s, so the roads are pretty warm. It's going to take a while for them to cool off, so I can't rule out an icy patch developing, but it looks like mainly accumulation of ice on railings, deck surfaces, tree limbs, power lines, maybe on a bridge surface, but probably not. And Molly Purcell probably says she sees it on the power lines also. And Tina Ping says here in Mason, ice also. Cotty Coleman says, no pun intended, I think you're under the weather. Yep. Okay. Jeff Beechler says he's got pics. He doesn't know how to send them to me. Now, I'm not going to be able to get them on this one. I might be able to use them on the air tonight, Jeff. Just send them to steve.horstmeyer at fox19.com. Steve.horstmeyer, Horstmeyer, at fox19.com. Middletown. We have ice on power lines and trees in Middletown. Is it going to cause power outages? Well, Wilma, it could cause a few power outages. So Carla Cuff mentioned Middletown, and then Wilma will know about power outages. But the winds aren't going to pick up that much. The winds are going to stay about how they are, so it can't rule out a power outage, but it doesn't look to be very widespread. Okay? Okay, and that's it for the comments. And usually I review the forecast at this point, but I just got to go. I just got to sit down and take it easy for a few minutes. So, and I apologize for cutting it short. But again, no severe weather tonight. The ice should not be a problem on roads, although we can't rule out a patch in a few spots. But it will form on power lines, tree limbs. Watch your deck surface. That can form there too. Railings and things like that. And generally, it is wind and the ice that cause a problem. And it doesn't look like the wind will be high enough, but we can't rule out a power outage or two either. Okay. Molly Purcell says, get better soon, and she sends some pictures also. So we'll take a look at those. And thank you all very much. Have yourself a nice evening, and thank you for joining me.